All right, so today I am going to talk about how to master Google Ads for paving companies. And what we'll cover today, and I'm going to move this out of the way for now, is just why paid marketing is so important for your paving business. We'll talk about some of the strategies that work best, some examples of campaigns generating good return on investment, how to structure and set things up, and KPIs and tracking landing pages, things like that that you want to uh, be aware of. And to who am I? Why should you listen to me? I wrote online marketing for paving companies. We're associate members of NAPA, and I own Paving Marketers. We've been doing this for a while. And broadly speaking, in digital marketing since like 2011. So 14 years now. So we've been doing this a long time. We've seen a lot of stuff and we know what we're doing. Worked with tons and tons of paving companies. We still do today. And you know, this is our accelerated growth model, which is you drive leads, you convert the leads, you figure out how you got those leads and how you converted them and how you can get better at those, and then use those lessons to start all over and drive more leads again. And that's what we teach, that's what we do, and today we're honing in on paid leads. And so, why should paid search be a part of your internet marketing strategy? And it's really simple. And I would say across our portfolio, when I think about where the leads come from, for the average paving company, about a third of their leads come from paid. So it's a significant part of a healthy mix of your customer base. And there's several reasons for this, but you can show up quickly. You can show up for the terms that your customers are using, when they're looking to hire someone. So it's important to be there. Another thing specific for paving companies is you can show up over a much wider area. So with your Google Maps listing, especially if you're anywhere near a city, your ability to reach with that is fairly restricted. But with Google Ads, you can cover your entire service area with ads. And so it's an important piece to make sure that you're visible everywhere that you want to be doing jobs, especially if you do commercial jobs statewide, for example, or pretty close, or a couple hours away for a really decently sized commercial project. You're going to want to be visible for commercial queries in that area, and this is the best way that you can do that. Okay, so I think everybody's familiar with Google Ads. I won't go into this too much, but you see them. They're sponsored. They're the top links. You see them in maps now. They're really just, you can't get away from them. And there's a lot of reasons that they fail. But I would say more recently, as in within the last year or two, the number one reason that we often see them fail is because you're just not spending enough. So the way that Google has changed over time is it's really become much more algorithm and machine learning based. And if you don't give the algorithm enough fuel, it just won't start. And so that's the best analogy I can come up with. If your spending caps out too early every day, there's just not enough data for the model to get you in the auction effectively. I don't know a good way to explain it other than paradoxically, the more you spend, the easier it is, and often the less expensive your leads are. So we recommend uh, generally no less than $2,000 per month to start. We've seen less work, but we don't recommend taking the chance. And of course, if you can spend more, all the better. It just depends on your capacity to take on the work. But 2,000 a month is a good floor, at least to start with, to work out from there. So that's number one. Number two, I would say it's really about how you set it up. So you don't want to mix, for example, driveway paving and parking lot paving in the same set of ads. There's a lot of reasons for this, and we'll get into that a little bit. But really, it just is the wrong way to set this up. And if you do that, you're setting yourself up for failure. Okay? Um, don't, and if you don't, make your ads match the keywords. So, if someone's searching for driveway paving and your ad is talking about parking lot paving, they're not going to click your ad because it's not talking to them. It's not relevant to their query. Okay? You need to have a good landing page. You need to have a good call to action or offer or both on your landing page. So these are some key elements that'll, if they're missing, make your campaign more likely to fail. Okay. The other one is, generally speaking, if you just set up your ads to send your traffic to your website. Now, there are cases when you want to test this. If you're having trouble, getting traction with some landing pages from there's reasons to do it, but only if you know what you're doing. Generally speaking, you do not want to send your Google Ads traffic to your homepage. Just don't do that. Use landing pages. It just tends to work better. And I'll leave it at that for now. So let's look at some examples. Um, First one, this is a pretty good example. This is over 3 months. They're averaging about 100 leads per month. I don't want my cameras being crazy. But it actually worked out to an average cost per lead of $18, which is crazy. I've rarely, if ever, seen it that low. In this particular case, it was that low, but I would never promise it. But, it happened. And so, let's just say that 35% of those jobs were booked. It's 112 booked jobs with an average ticket. It's residential and commercial, skewed more heavily residential. Of 2,500, that's revenue of 280,000 against like a $6,000 spend is a 48x return on investment. So amazing. But even at twice that, even at 40, at $40 cost per lead, that's a 24x ROI at $80 cost per lead. And usually we see closer to 40 or 80, somewhere in that range, depending on the location. You're still looking at a 12 to 24x return on investment, which is great. And if you have healthy margins, that's good, profitable business for you. Okay, here's another example about the same, and the ROIs are the same. So, you know, you can get really, really good results with Google Ads if you run it well and you run it carefully. Okay. So I leave this in here for you to pause and take notes if you want to, but otherwise I'm just going to keep going. So let's talk about how to set up and structure these campaigns to get the best results. And the number one thing here is you got to track your conversions. And there's lots of ways you can do this. You can do it right in the Google Ads backend. You can do it with dynamic numbers. There's all kinds of things that you can do, but you have to do it. Okay, that's number one. Number two, you have to break your campaign into smaller ad groups. So like one for driveway paving, one for parking lot paving, maybe one for repair and maintenance. It depends on how you break them down, but you want them to be thematically grouped on similar terms and keywords. Okay? Your ads need to be good. It can't be boring ads. People can't see it and be like, whatever. This is it. It should give them a reason to click and find out more about you. Okay? Make sure you connect your Google Business Profile to it so you get the ad extensions, which is things like your address and your phone number. That's very important. Make sure you have a good landing page. We'll talk a little bit more about that, I think. And then just testing. Test different ads. Test changes to your landing page. That's how you get lower costs over time, is testing one thing against another and seeing if you can get better results. And just to emphasize again, don't, if you're not going to track your conversions, don't even bother, because you're not going to be able to optimize it. Okay, it might work. I mean, it's going to work. It's going to give you some leads, but you won't know what they cost. You won't know, where they came from. So you won't even know to give Google as the credit typically. So it's really, really important to do this. And again, like I said, there's various ways. We like to do dynamic number swapping, which is you have a pool of numbers and each visitor sees a different number. And that allows you to follow them and just track where they came from if they become a lead. Okay. But there's lots of ways to do it. We're not going to get into the technical aspects of doing this on this particular webinar here today. Just make sure you're doing it. There's lots of information out there about how. Okay. Most important KPIs. You want to know your spend, obviously. cost per click matters, but it's secondary, and I'll explain why. If you see a keyword that has a $1 cost per click, that looks great. You want $1 cost per clicks all the time. But if you get 200 clicks on that and you don't get a lead, what's your cost per lead? It's infinite. Nothing. It's worthless. The $200 did nothing for you. Now, say there's a $35 cost per click. That sounds like a lot. But if every 2 clicks you get a lead, that's a $70 cost per lead. That's fantastic. You'll pour as much money as you can into that keyword at 30. Who cares if it's $35 a click? Because what matters is your cost per lead. And this is also why you have to track conversions and why you want thematic ad groups, because you're going to want to know what your cost per lead is for your driving payway, for your driveway paving, for example. You may not want to pay $500 per lead for residential projects, right? But your parking lot paving ad group, maybe you're okay with a $500 cost per lead. I'm not saying it's that high. This is an example, but if your average parking lot job is $25,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $500 cost per lead, that's extremely profitable for you. But if you're just looking at a blended cost per lead, you don't know. You don't know. So that's why these things are important if you want to do this the right way. And these are some examples of how you can structure it. So a brand campaign protects you from people running ads against your name. You can do general paving, commercial paving. If you do sealing, seal coating, repair. If you get into concrete at all, you just think about the services that you provide. For each service, you should have a group of keywords that are just for that service, and your ad group should be for that service. Okay. And this is just how the back end looks if you haven't seen it before. So you've got a campaign view, and then you've got an ad group view and keyword views, and then the ads it sells. Okay, and that's just digging around in the Google Ads backend. That's what it looks like. Okay, and then best performing ads, and you want to test these, and not only that, you want to know what your competitors are doing. In every major market, somebody's running ads for paving. I haven't seen one yet where they're not. Okay, so you want to look. Don't click on their ads because you don't want them clicking on your ads. Don't be like that. But just you can see their ads. Just search for paving company near me or search for parking lot paving, right? You'll see ads, see what they're running. That doesn't mean copy it, but be aware of what's out there. If they're offering $500 off a new project, well, that's what searchers are seeing. So you probably want to have something like that because if there's 2 ads that look the same to people and one's offering $500, well, I'm going to go the one for the $500, right? So you got to know what other people are putting out there and be aware of it and consider it when you're writing your own ads and when you're testing your own ads. Okay. And then as far as landing pages go, put pictures of your equipment, pictures of your crew, pictures of yourself. When people are clicking through to a landing page, they want to make sure that you're a legitimate company that they can trust. And so your landing page it serves 2 purposes. It's really like a really short web page, giving them everything you need for them in a really snap judgment. Be like, yep, this looks like a legit company. I'm comfortable giving them a call. Okay, so that's goal 1 of your landing page. The goal 2 is to make it easy for them to either give you a call with click to call buttons, or give them a form to fill out, or whatever. But so that the next step is, yeah, these guys look legit. I'm going to call them, right? That's it. That's the job of your landing page. Okay. That's all. Okay. So if you're working with somebody now, just ask them about these things. How are you organized? Do you have conversion tracking in place? What metrics are you tracking? Am I doing landing pages? What do they look like? Um, you know, Especially if you feel like you're not getting as many leads as you'd like out of it, it makes sense to dig in and find out what's going on. There may be very legitimate reasons. Some markets are extremely competitive. Sometimes the cost per lead is very high, and it's just a tricky market. It happens, but it's best to know what's going on. What makes our campaigns better or different? Well, we know what we're doing And we've done it for dozens and dozens of paving companies. So we've seen it all before. And, I can talk about what we do, but we just have a lot of experience. And sometimes experience is a differentiator. Okay, but we do all these things. I'm not going to get into all this. Okay, so I want to talk briefly about retargeting and automation because these are part of PPC that maybe don't always get talked about, but they're extremely important. Okay, the retargeting is if you've ever been shopping for a vacuum cleaner at Target, right? And now suddenly you got vacuum cleaners following you all over the internet. It can be super annoying. But it still reminds you that you looked for a vacuum cleaner at Target, right? So when customers are shopping for a paving project, they're probably shopping 3 or 4 different companies, and you want them to see you, and you want to stay top of mind. So you want to be running retargeting ads. So when the shopper goes on Facebook, hey, there's that paving company I looked at. Cool. And they might dig it. They might look at your Facebook profile a little bit, see your posts and things. It invites your prospective customer to take another look and consider you, and on a different platform. So they probably weren't looking at you on Facebook when they were shopping the web necessarily, but now they can see your Facebook page and your social media posts and pictures of projects and things. And this is helpful information as they're making decisions. So you definitely want them to be able to do that. Then the automation is, automate responsiveness. I am always blown away by the number of times that I fill out a form to a local service provider here where I live, and they do not get back to me. Blows my mind. There's nothing. Like I said, it blows my mind. So this is very easy to do. And so what I recommend is when someone fills out a form on your site, they should immediately get an email within 30 seconds, which is, hey, thanks so much. We got your submission. Here's what's going to happen next. Okay, so what does that do? Number one, it lets them know you heard okay, they got it worked, right? And now here's what I can expect. Great. So now they know, your customer knows, okay, so here's what's going to happen. And then you do what you said you were going to do. So straight away, this prospective customer, you contacted them quickly, and then you did what you said you were going to do. This is how you build trust, right? And so it's an easy thing to do. It's automated, but it goes a long way towards showing your prospective customer that you're a serious business that's going to take care of them. Okay. And then in the same automation, you can have a message sent to your team. It says, hey, we just got this new customer reaching out to us via form. Call them right away. Okay. And so think about what happens. The customer fills out a form and they want to get an estimate. Right away, they get an email saying, hey, thanks, we got your form. We're going to take a look at it. Someone's going to call you as soon as possible or within 10 minutes. Okay. 3 minutes later, their phone rings and it's you. Perfect. Right? That's what you want to do. That's the kind of process you want to have in place. That's what automation does for you. All right. And all the evidence shows, I've done webinars on this. Um, if you don't follow up with leads quickly, they go cold because they're shopping other people. And the people who respond to them are the ones that are going to get the business. So you be that company that's going to respond to them. Okay? Let your competitors be slow. You'll win those jobs. Okay? So we talked about this. These are just some examples of retargeting ads. I don't want to get into all that stuff. And you can make this stuff very complicated. If you've ever done a call with us, you've experienced our automation sequence. It's several steps over several days. And that's just because we found that people didn't always respect our time and show up for the calls. So I remind them. And they may not like that, but look, if you don't like being marketed to, then don't market. These people do these things for a reason, and they're effective. That's why you still get junk mail, right? So, uh, that's where I'm going to end it for today. If you'd like us to take a look at your market, we'd love to do that. We've been doing this a long time, and we can tell what the opportunities are in your market and the opportunities for you specifically based on how your maps look, based on who's running ads or not running ads. And we'll show you what we see, and we'll make recommendations, and we'll tell you whether we think we can help you or not. So, and if we can't, we can't. That's okay. But if we can, we'd like to give you the opportunity to work with us. So go to pavingmarketers.com/apply-now. Just give us some basic information, and we'll put together a free report for you about your market. If you prefer, you can give us a call and talk to us on the phone, and we'll set up your call that way. I mean, we want to do the call, we want to do the market report because we think it's valuable for you, even if you don't work with us. But of course, we generally like to work with you and get you great results. So that's it for today. I hope this was helpful, and we will see you on the next one.